Astor beamed and nodded. Mike's head lifted bit by bit. Yeah, he said, almost to himself. I just went about it wrong. Whenever Mike got excited, his right gut jiggled. Now, as his family watched, the bed spread over his foot began to shake. Mike's eyes began to glow. His parents looked at one another and sighed in relief. Mike went back. Take birthday money. You spend the money and it's gone. Same with selling Christmas clothes or teeth. Sure, you could sell all the stuff you already own, but then what? A life of gestures. That what? You can't run a good business that way with stuff that's gonna run out. Limited resources. Offers that helpfully. Right, Mike cried, pointed at him. That's the rotten business model. I want a business that can go and go. There's a word for that. What's that word? Sustainable, his mom said. Right, cried Mike. I want a business that's sustainable. The demand has to be sustainable, something people actually want or need. But the simple supply has to be sustainable too, because business is forever. He handed pickles to his sister, pushed back his cover, and jumped to his feet. When he turned to face his family, his smile was bright. I'm going for a walk, he announced. It's 17 degrees out, Mrs. McCarthy cried. Mike winked at him. Don't I know it, he said. Japan, written by Susan Light. Where is it? Japan is a string of islands just off the east coast of Asia in the Pacific Ocean. It stretches more than 2,400 kilometers in length. Between Japan and Asia lies the Sea of Japan, also known as the East Sea. Japan's neighbors in Asia include China, North and South Korea, and Russia. Japan includes 4 main islands and thousands of smaller islands. The largest island is Honshu, which includes Japan's biggest city. In fact, more than 80% of Japan's population lives on Honshu. The capital city of Japan, Tokyo, is on Honshu. More than 32 million people live and work in Tokyo. Despite its modern skyscrapers, Tokyo is over 400 years old. At first, it was a fishing village. Gradually, it grew to become a major city in Japan. Today, Tokyo is a crowded, bustling center for international trade and business. At the heart of Tokyo is the Imperial Palace, the house of the Japanese Emperor. The city is also Japan's major center for culture. It includes all types of museums, beautiful parks and gardens, zoos, and theaters. People. More than 127 million people live in Japan, with 4 out of every 5 people living in urban areas. Their main language is Japanese. Japanese. Many people who live in cities work in banks, restaurants, hospitals, and other service industries. Others work in factories, producing high-tech products such as motor vehicles, cell phones, computers, and televisions. In fact, Japan is one of the world's leading producers of electronics. In cities along the coast, people work in huge harbors as part of Japan's large fishing industry. The country runs out one of the biggest fleets of fishing ships in the world. Because Japan's cities are so crowded, many people live in tall apartment buildings. However, people live in houses or smaller apartment buildings in suburbs. In some Japanese homes, the floors are covered with thick rice straw mats called tatami. It is Japanese custom to take one's shoes off when entering a home. Many Japanese sit on the tatami mats to eat. Some people sleep on thin beds called futons that are rolled down on top of the floor. The rooms in some homes are divided by paper or bamboo screens instead of walls. Land. Japan is a country filled with tall mountains and surrounded by water. In fact, most of Japan is covered with mountains. As a result, most of Japan's large cities are near the flat areas of land along the coasts. The country is located in one of the most geologically unstable areas in the world. People in Japan live in the shadow of more than 70 active volcanoes. The most famous volcano in Japan is Mount Fuji, which had not erupted in many years.